Hi, everybody. Welcome to Rewind and Reflect, the evolution of a friendship. We believe in the universal truth that nothing happens through coincidences or mistakes, and we are here to share that with you. For those of us watching, you're going to be like, oh, wow, Sue looks quite different. But this, this is not my quote cohort, Sue. This is our special guest, Alexis Gould. I'm going to tell you a little bit about her in a moment, but I did want to say that Sue sends her best. She had a conflict, a last minute conflict, so she couldn't be on this recording. And since we have a special guest and we are so anxious to have her on here, I did not want to reschedule this. So we are moving ahead and without Sue, but with Alexis Gould, who I like to call Lexi. I don't know why, it just stuck with me. And I'm going to tell you a little about why Lexi is on our podcast today, how we met, and you are going to walk away from this feeling your mind is going to be blown. You are going to feel so incredibly inspired. And my hope is that it really puts into perspective life situations because her story is remarkable. But let me start with telling you a little bit about how I met Alexis. I went to a doctor's appointment recently, and I was asked when I walked in, I was welcomed very nicely. I said, take a seat, we'll be right with you. And these two beautiful women were behind the desk. I had mentioned on this podcast a couple weeks ago, I think it was at this point, that I had met Alexis because I was telling everybody how I was out to dinner with my son Hunter, and he was talking about his prosthetic and the difficulty it has and the pain that occurs and all this. And so when I'm sitting, fast forward the next day, I'm sitting at this doctor's appointment and I see Alexis come towards me with the little clipboard for me to fill out the information. And I can see she's got that same walk as Hunter. And I look at her leg and I see she's got a prosthetic. And even though she had pants on, I could just tell the way that her hip was and everything. And I said, oh, do you have a sea leg? And she said, yeah, my one leg is a sea leg and my other leg is below the knee. And I look down and she has two prosthetics. And I go, oh my gosh. And I said, I was just talking to my son Hunter about the problems of the sea leg. It's like the best prosthetic you can get, but it's very difficult and painful. So she said, oh, I know. And I said, I've never met a younger person. Hunter just turned 26. I've never met anybody younger than him who has the same prosthetic. So anyways, Alexis and I got into this long conversation. I fell madly in love with her. I was like, you are just amazing. She told me all about her story, which she's going to share with you, and how she ended up with two prosthetics. But right now I'm just going to go through a little bit of a list of things that this poor child went through. She was 18 when she had her car accident. She's 21 now. Progress has been made in those couple years, but and I'm just going to spit these out. It's a long list, but I'm not going to go through all of them. But you had your right leg amputated above the knee. You had an aorta tear, which was repaired, stent and arteries rerouted, broken ribs, broken sternum, intestine leakage, broken pelvis, left leg amputated below the knee, tricep surgery, reconstruction of left arm, burns from rodent engine, arms, leg, lower back, over 25 surgeries, skin grafts, continued washout and debridement. Is that what it's called? Debridement?
Yeah, I think they're just like getting things out of there, cleaning it all.
Yes, getting the debris out there. Yes. Lots of infections, I'm sure, if you were anything with like Hunter. Revision surgery of left leg. Those constantly you guys have to have your surgery for the prosthetic to fit in your bone, not to poke through your skin because you're still growing. You were both very young and are very young. and this just blows me away, initially given a 2% chance at even living through the night. And an incredible 19-year-old was attempting to walk on her prosthetics in under 5 months after this accident. Holy moly. So I want to know what you were like before the accident. I know you were very young. You're doing all the young people things. We all did.
Yeah.
And I want to know just about the accident and what life is like now.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind sharing a little bit with our audience on that, that would be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So before, I was actually just in school for medical esthetician. And then I finished the laser program and I was going out to the club a lot and drinking and driving because, as you know, when you're 18, you think you're invincible, and that's just what I thought I was. I thought, oh, nothing bad would ever happen to me. Nothing could happen to me. I'm young. I'm too young for that. And then I was also working. I worked as a waitress at the time, so balancing nightlife with
Mm.
school life and work life, it was hectic, but I loved being busy. I liked having things to do. So yeah, so balancing that was pretty hard, but it was also a lot of fun for me and gave me a lot to think of for the future. And I thought I had my entire life mapped out and how I was going to do things and how fast I was going to get things done. And then unfortunately, that's just not what happened. So I ended up, oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, were you in Florida at this time? I know you're originally from
It
Massachusetts,
was,
but were you in Florida? Okay. All
yeah,
right.
here when I was about 9 years old,
Okay.
to Florida. And I've been here since, but I lived in Tampa at the time.
Of
And
the accident? Okay.
yeah, yep. So now being in Bradenton, it's a lot different to go from living in Tampa and being around your friends and all that to going to somewhere you've never really heard of or
Yeah.
been to and all that. So very different.
And you wanted a lot, like you had gone to school, graduated high school, you wanted to be an esthetician. You were like, that's, I know, because I read a little bit about, your thought process, and I just want everybody to feel beautiful. You were very much into having people feel better about themselves. And so you thought, okay, I'm going to be an esthetician. That's going to be that's going to be my career. Okay. So you're like, got it all together, and you're 18. So you're out having fun. Okay. So bring us to the day of the accident.
So the day of the accident, I went to a friend's house and I had done some things during the day. I can't really remember too much, but I remember going to my friend's house and we were drinking and talking and all that. And I decided that I was going to leave. I was like, look, I'm really tired. I want to go home. I'd like to relax, all that stuff. She was trying to convince me, like, no, girl, you should stay the night. I have a couch here. Like, I can make your bed for you. I was like, no, I'd rather be like in my bed. I don't really want to stay the night. So after a couple minutes of us like going back and forth of like, no, you're going to stay. No, I'm going to leave. She finally was like, you know what, fine. I can't force you to stay anywhere you don't want to stay. So then I left. But instead of driving 10 minutes down the road to my dad's house where I was staying, I drove an hour to Bradenton where my mom stays,
Okay.
because there was a hurricane coming. And I knew that her boyfriend at the time was not going to be home. So I wanted to go stay with her so she wouldn't be alone. And so I was about a mile-ish from the exit that I was supposed to take to get to my mom's. And that's when I got into the accident. I have no idea what happened. I don't remember anything. I've been told by like my brother, he talked to the paramedics and stuff, and they basically just said that what they think happened is the floorboard of my car ripped off, because I went into a lane that wasn't really a lane meant to be driven in yet. It was still under construction. So I went into that lane not knowing. I hit some Jersey barriers. The floorboard had ripped off. So I ended up leaving the car through the bottom. So I went legs first, but I was still buckled in. So they think that I was dragged for a little bit. and then that's what broke my ribs, they're assuming.
Mm-hmm.
And then the engine actually exploded and landed on me as well, and I have so
Oh,
sorry.
wow. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
That's
so
from the engine. Oh my God.
yeah, the engine burnt a lot, a lot of skin, a lot of tissue, nerves, all of it.
Wow,
Yeah,
wow, wow.
yeah,
So you're in a coma. So now thank God somebody, like, I don't know, somebody called it in, the
yeah.
ambulance came,
So
got you, brought
yeah,
you to what?
somebody saw the top of my car and just called it in and said, I think this car was in an accident. They weren't sure, they had no idea,
Yeah,
they couldn't see me. They just, thank God they called it.
right, right. Did they bring you to Sarasota Memorial?
They did not. They brought me to Blake.
Blake, okay. Yep, that's down in Bradenton.
Mhm.
Okay. So you're in you're in a coma, right?
Right. Yep. I'm in
Was it medically induced or
yep.
okay, medically induced coma. And for how many days were you in coma for?
I want to say 13 or 14, one of the two.
Okay. Wow.
But they would lessen my sedation. So
Right.
throughout the coma, I'd come to and I'd see everybody in the room that I was in. And I was in a very, very small ICU room. And I had a lot of people in there at a time because the guy who actually sat at the desk, like the security guard type of person, he actually
Yeah.
saw me being brought in when I came in. And
Oh.
he told my parents, he was like, I've seen lesser injuries and they did not survive. So the fact that your daughter is still breathing, anybody can go up to her room, which was
Oh.
very, very sweet. And
Yeah, very sweet, very kind, and just like, yeah, you got to go say your goodbyes probably, like, and
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so okay, so then that first night is when they told your mom and dad like she has a very small person, she's in trouble here, and
Well, so my mom's coworker's husband was actually working on the case with my surgeon. So he knew like that I was her daughter from
okay,
her letting him know. Basically, they had communicated that I was her daughter. Um, and so they ended up, um, his wife and him were talking, and she was just like, don't let her know anything that's wrong. Like, just let
okay,
her know what she needs to know, but don't tell her that there's a percentage that won't happen. Like, let her think
right,
positive, basically.
okay,
So that's what he did, and he didn't tell my mom the chances of my survival or what they really thought. He kind of just was like, she's very sick, if you understand what I mean. And my
yeah.
mom's like, yeah, I get it. Um,
I love that they did that because it gives the power of positive thoughts in the mind. Like once you put that on somebody, like there's not a good chance, your mind always automatically goes there. But they were like, don't tell her. So
yeah.
she always held hope,
Mhm.
never
Absolutely.
lost hope.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So continue on.
Yes. So they'd lessened my sedation. I'd come through, and I knew. I mean, I knew I was in the hospital when I came through, and everyone's kind of looking at me. So I knew I was in the hospital. Had no idea what I was in there for. Not a
Mm.
single clue. So when you wake up in a hospital bed and you're looking around, you have no idea. You can't talk because there's a giant tube going down your
Oh,
throat.
right,
You can't
right.
do much except for kind of look at everyone. And
Terrified. I'm sure you were like
yeah,
eyes wide open, like, what the hell? Yeah.
yeah. And I get claustrophobic, and having all those wires attached to me, it was not a
Oh,
good thing. Not a good thing. And having that thing down my throat, I couldn't say anything. So nobody
yeah.
knew what I was like trying to say, nothing.
And it's not like you were, and I'm going to show some pictures towards the end of the podcast, but yeah, you were bandaged up. It's not like you could write anything like
right,
you
exactly.
were. Yeah. Okay. So go ahead.
Um, I actually ended up taking sign language back in high school for about 4 years. So my brother took it for 3 years. So when he got to the hospital, I was
Oh,
able to kind of communicate with him. I couldn't spell right because I had no idea what I was trying to say,
right.
doing this in some ways. But yeah, he was like, I don't know what you're trying to say. Closet. I was trying to spell claustrophobic. Number
Oh,
one, I
right.
probably couldn't even do that normally. So
I don't think I could either.
right. So I'm sitting there completely out of my
Yeah.
mind, not knowing
Oh,
what I'm trying to sign. And luckily my mom was like, are you trying to say claustrophobic? I was like,
oh,
thank God,
she
yes.
knew.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. So that was
So
Great moment.
Were they kind of like, okay, you're in the hospital, you
Yeah,
were in an accident, like they were trying
yeah,
to walk you through that, but still you had no idea at that point that your legs had been amputated.
right. Not a clue.
Not a
So
clue.
I knew that something really, really, really bad had happened by who was in the room with me. If it was
Mm,
just my parents and my brother, I would have been like, all right, like
yeah.
something bad happened, but not like life changing. But when I saw people from Massachusetts in that room with me, I was
Mm.
like, yikes, they flew during a hurricane to come
Oh,
see me.
right.
So I knew that something really, really bad had happened. I just had no idea what it was. And it's crazy because when you do get amputations done, you can still feel the limb.
Mm,
So I kept telling my mom, Mom, my feet are freezing, my feet are freezing. And my poor mother would have to go over and pretend to cover my feet
of
because she didn't want
course.
me to even have an idea of what had happened. So
Isn't that insane?
uh,
Hunter had those same issues. He would feel
yeah,
itching on his leg. He would feel pain,
yep,
and it's not there, but it's so
right.
real. It's
Mhm.
so real. It's the power of your mind. It's insane.
Yeah, it's the body is insane. The fact that I could heal from everything is
Hmm.
um but
So
yes.
you kind of come to your like, okay, this
Mhm.
is not good,
Right.
but you can't communicate. So then what happened?
So my mom comes over and she's trying to like tell me like, look, you were in a really bad car accident. You didn't kill anybody because she could see it in my face. That's the first thing my mind went to is I
Right,
killed somebody. I had somebody in my car with me. I had something bad with somebody else, not just myself. And
right.
she had to like make sure that I knew, no, it was just you. I promise. Like you were the only one in there. We didn't hit anybody. Um, and so that was good to hear for sure.
Hmm.
To not know at all what happened and then to hear that it was just you in it, my heart rate went down because it was probably close to about 200 every time I came through, and it stayed around 165, 175 for weeks.
Yeah.
Uh,
Wow.
yeah, but um,
So what happened when you kind of started to have your wits about you and found out that you had lost your legs?
so first it was they were worried about brain damage. So when I came to and like they saw that I was pretty much the same, they were like, okay, we're pretty sure she's still the same Lexi, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then a moment that really came to them when she was like, oh yeah, she's fine, was I was pointing to my nose because I went like this and they thought I was trying to like rip the tube out. So they're trying to
Okay.
grab my arms. I'm like, no, no, stop. And so they finally let me and I went like this and my mom's like, your nose hurts? And I'm like, no. And then I go like this and I pointed to my ring finger. She's like, are you trying to ask me about your friggin' nose ring right now? I was
Oh, no way.
like, yeah. She was
Where's
like,
my nose ring?
oh my gosh, I was so worried about that. And I had my tongue pierced that same year earlier in the year. So I was worried it was gonna close up. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's hilarious. That is such a typical teenage thing to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
You're,
what I was worried about. Was my
yeah, of
piercing
course.
thing okay? Because that's priorities.
You're
Um,
right. And I'm sure your mom was thrilled because she's like, oh, okay, we got
yeah.
her back. Yep,
Mhm.
she's all
Yeah.
here.
Yep. That was the moment when she knew that I was
Yeah.
um so yeah, that was a great moment. And then so when it came down to them starting to tell me about my legs and stuff, it was day one of me being fully awake. So they took me out of my coma. They took the tube out and they had a sheet that went up like this, kind of in front of me. I could see probably like here and out, and people had to kind of like come around.
Okay. Yeah.
They were doing a dressing change at this moment. So I could feel my legs were moving around, but I wasn't doing it. I wasn't in pain either because they gave me a lot of
Yeah,
like
you're undilated.
right.
Yeah, yep.
So I couldn't feel it. I had no idea. I thought maybe my legs were broken or something. I don't know. And so one of my trauma nurse, she was like, look, I'm gonna tell you something and I need you to repeat it back to me, okay? So that we know that like you understood. I said, okay. They were like, all right, so you were in a really bad car accident, and we had to end up amputating both legs, one leg above the knee, one leg below the knee. And that's just when I was like, oh wow, okay. And I had no feelings in that moment. The only thing that I really thought of was, oh, like this is that serious. I'm gonna
Mm.
probably be in here for a while. Um, And right before the accident, I thought that I had hit rock bottom. I felt very depressed. I thought that I wasn't doing enough for myself, that life was very hard and all of this stuff. And then this happened. So I was like, well, I can't do much about it now. I'm stuck in a hospital, so I'm gonna have to just kind of push through and go day by day. And that's what I told myself. And I was internally talking, and everyone's kind of looking at me, waiting for a reaction. They were like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Mm-hmm." They were like, "Do you want to talk about it?" I was like, "No, not right now." And they were like, "Okay, sure." So they were kind of surprised at how like calm and well I took it.
Yeah, I would think that, well, first of all, that's so much to even accept at that moment, let alone really realize, first of all, you're on a ton of pain meds. So you're just like, okay. And then also to process the fact that you just lost both of your legs. You can, say, well, it is what it is, but
right. There was no processing happening
yeah,
whatsoever. It was
right.
just being told and me saying, okay.
Yeah.
And that was about
Well,
it. And then I had so many more surgeries to go through and skin grafts that I had to get taken from my legs to put onto my arm, and a hole in my leg that I had. And those were severe.
really, even
Yeah.
I know I hear that skin grafts are just excruciating, but that even they couldn't keep you comfortable. No.
No, I have a very high pain tolerance, and when
Yeah.
they let me get to like a 10, they were telling me that like my 10's like somebody's like 30. So
Yeah.
to get somebody from a 30 to a 2 is very, very hard.
Yeah.
And so they had a lot of issues at first trying to get me comfortable.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and so that just was not fun. And then I had a
So,
blood clot, and that hurt as well a lot.
where was your blood clot in your
It was
upper
in my
leg?
left leg. So this was in my leg. I don't know if it was the upper or like near my knee.
Okay.
So
But it wasn't in the above the knee.
no,
Okay.
nope.
So as you're sitting in the hospital and days are going by and think the reality of your situation is really starting to resonate, how are you dealing?
Oh, I wasn't.
You
I was
weren't.
not dealing with it. No, I was kind of trying to just distract myself with anything around me and play games and watch movies, sleep. I was doing anything I could to not really focus on my future at that point. I was doing whatever I could to just focus day by day. Because if I started thinking about the future, it wasn't how it looked when I had planned it out.
Right.
And obviously it was hard for me to like realize that life is going to be a lot slower than I used to take it, and I have to be more patient, a lot more patient than I used to be. So yeah, I just
Did you do the I mean, you can't even do like the why me, because the accident was an accident, and
yeah.
it's like, but did you ever, first of all, I want to know, did you have any like near death experience situations when you were in the
Um,
coma that you can remember?
Not really. No, so when I came through the first time from my coma, I felt like I had just talked to somebody.
You
Like I
did.
just talked to somebody, have no idea who I talked to, have no idea what I talked about, but it was somebody that wasn't in the room with me. It
Okay.
wasn't in that hospital. So I have no idea who it was, what it
Yeah.
was, but something did like talk to me.
Yeah.
I would love to know what I talked about. That would be great, but unfortunately,
Uh,
I don't know.
well, I think that I love that. I love that because I truly believe in that. And when I first met you and the few times I've spoken to you and talking to you now, and knowing what you've been through and what you go through every single day, um, I I just feel like you were infused with a spirit that was like, it's going to be hard, but you got to do it because of your purpose. We're putting you back on earth because we got it, because you're the one who can help other people.
Right.
And again, because of how I know how tough it is to get through, even you know, day-to-day activities. Like we were talking about, you know, I was like, every time I get up just off the couch to go to the bathroom or something, I always think about how difficult it is for Hunter with one leg. He's got to grab his crutch. He's got to da da da. It's like a process. But you, with both of your legs, like, you know, you have to get in a wheelchair and go. It's, what did you tell me that you use how much more energy than a normal
So
person?
yeah, when you're walking in a prosthetic or using prosthetics in general, you're exerting 60% more of your energy than you would if you were just normally walking. So when I first went to, so I go to somewhere called POA, Prosthetic Orthotic Association, in Orlando, and they're absolutely incredible. I had no idea what it was like to even wear a prosthetic, get fit for one, anything like that.
Yes, and it's an ordeal.
It really is.
It's not like they just pop it on and then you start
Right.
walking. It is an ordeal.
Yeah, and oh my gosh, it's so exhausting, very painful because you're trying to get it to a point where it's comfortable, but it's hard to figure out
Right.
what comfortable is supposed to feel like when you have no idea what you're looking for.
Right,
Uh,
right.
so that
Wait, before we get to that, because I kind of skipped ahead. So you're in the hospital, you're like, let's say you're on week number 3 now, and they've got you kind of moving around and you haven't been fitted yet for your prosthetics, but you're just kind of getting used to maneuvering around without your legs. So when when did they start the process of fitting your legs? Was it around that time? I know you have to heal from the wounds of
right,
the
yeah.
amputation.
Yep. So after an amputation, it's about 12 weeks until you can go get fitted for prosthetics. So my first amputation was the night of my accident for my right leg, September 27th.
And that's the above the knee. That was the above the knee. And
Yeah.
I think it's important for people to understand the differences between above the knee and below the knee. It's a huge difference. So do you want to explain that a little bit?
Yeah, so with a below the knee, honestly, it kind of feels like you just have the rest of your leg. Like you can put it on, and it feels very similar to having a normal leg, aside from obviously toe balance and stuff. But when you put on an above the knee, it's just so different, so heavy. It's about like 14, 15 pounds. And obviously legs are heavier than that, but when they're connected, it doesn't feel like that. But when it's
Right.
something that you're putting onto yourself and it has to suction on and kind of stay there, you have to walk different. You're moving your hips a different way to just walk normally. And you really have to put a lot of trust into a knee that you've never used before.
Yeah, that's electronic and it's
Right. Yeah.
mechanical.
Yeah.
And they break down just like any
Right.
other thing, you know.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I've been with Hunter walking his dog, and all of a sudden I hear beep, beep, beep. I'm like, uh-oh. He's like, yeah, my leg's gonna die, my knee, you know, and then all of a sudden you're
Right.
stuck without being able to bend your knee.
Yeah. See, I didn't even know how it worked when it died because I never let it get to that point until probably a year after having my prosthetics. I forgot to
Yeah.
charge it one night.
Yeah.
I was using it a lot the day before, and then that next day, and I was at a casino at a birthday party, and yeah, my leg did not want to bend anymore. It was
Yeah.
dead and was locked, so I was walking like a penguin back to the car. It was
Yeah.
incredible.
And it's painful. It
It
is
is.
you get welts and you know, there's that suction and you can get blisters and all of that. So all right, so back to so now you left the hospital. How long were you in the hospital?
So they had originally told me that I would be in there till at least February, and I got in at the end of September. So I was not happy hearing that.
No.
Like, I want to go lay in my own bed. I don't want to have to be in this room all day, every day. Like, I would like to go lay down in my bed. And they were like, okay, do you have any ideas? I was like, yeah, I want to be out by my birthday. They're like, okay, when's your birthday? So December 17th. They were like, I'm not gonna lie to you, that's not very realistic. So then I'm sitting there like, well, I'm gonna make it realistic because I'm not sitting in here for an extra 3 months.
Right. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so I worked very hard every day, for the most part every day. I did have some puny days, as my favorite nurse would call it. My puny days, which she let me have, which was amazing to know that I was able to sit there in the emotion that I was feeling and not have to act like I could do everything in that day
Oh,
and feel
so
like,
bit. That's huge.
yeah, it was, she was the best ever. And so, yeah, on the good days, it was, I lost my train of thought with that one.
No, so you said they said no, no, no. We're probably not going to get you out by your
Ah,
birthday. You're like, yep, watch me.
yeah,
Hold this. Hold my drink.
yeah.
Yeah.
So on the good days, I would obviously do whatever I could with my physical therapy and all that, and figuring out how to move from a bed to a wheelchair using like a board that they give you to scoot across.
Mm.
But I mean, I had no energy, no muscle mass, like nothing. I was probably about 60 pounds at the time. I lost everything. Um,
Oh,
yeah, so that was,
60 pounds. Oh my gosh.
yeah, I was very, very thin and frail, very, very white and pasty.
So lifting your arms, like you
Oh my
need to
gosh.
use your arms to move your entire body, your torso, your head, everything to the wheelchair.
Yeah. And that, oh God, that was painful too, because I had a lot of broken bones that were still in the process of
Right.
healing, and my chest was one that really hurt. I had broken my sternum. So every time I would move and all that, my ribs and my sternum would hurt a lot. And lifting
Ouch.
that, it's very painful.
Oh my gosh.
But
Oh my gosh.
yeah, luckily I had a great support system though, so they were all there cheering me on, and I
Yeah.
got up and did it, even though I wouldn't want to 90% of the time. I did.
Right, right.
Um, and then yeah, I ended up getting out the day before Thanksgiving, which was awesome.
So
So
that was like almost a month
yeah,
before you wanted to, and
right.
they were like, "Oh my, that's a miracle."
Yeah, they were so shocked at how well I was healing and how fast I was healing from things. It was
I think that had a lot to do with that conversation that you had with that entity, we'll call it,
right.
before you
Yeah,
got out. Yeah, like, but
I
it also it's your attitude in attitude makes such a difference, and you set a goal
yes.
and you work towards it, but you also allowed the feelings to come as they needed to,
Right.
because
Yeah.
I feel like one of the worst things, well, a lot of times, like for teenagers and young kids, they don't want their family members feeling bad or sorry for them, so they put on this face like, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good, but they're not good, and it
Yeah.
all gets shoved down. So I'm glad to hear that you really let yourself feel the feelings and do
Yeah.
all the things. So then you get home. So then you're home.
Yes. So I
Thanksgiving must have been amazing.
yes, it was so nice. I didn't really have an appetite yet because I was still on a lot of medication that made me
Yeah.
nauseous and all that. But it was the best feeling to be home and with family and all that. So
Yeah.
that was,
Oh man. And
um,
so then you're home and
and then
now you got to,
I started therapy. So I started doing trauma therapy um, because when I was in the hospital, I was going in for a surgery, and I looked across the room from me, and in the same pre-op room was this girl, Rebecca Gregory. And she didn't have a leg either. She was missing a below the knee, like she had a below the knee amputation. So
mhm.
she took her prosthetic off and gave it to her husband, and they were talking, and I was there with my dad, and I looked at her and I was like, I would love to be able to like have a conversation with her. I have no idea what I'm getting myself into. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know anything about this life. I need help. And my dad was
Yes.
like, yeah, that would be great. So when I went in for surgery, her husband and my dad were talking, and her husband was like, oh my God, yeah, she would love to do that. Um, she survived the Boston Marathon bombing, and then to hear that, us being from Massachusetts, that bombing had really
Yes.
made some damage emotionally to everyone in Massachusetts.
Sure.
So then, yeah, learning that, it was incredible. And then we found out that she wasn't even supposed to be there at the same time. Like she was supposed to be in surgery already hours before I even got there. So for some
Mm-hmm.
reason, the hospital accidentally, they checked her in, but then forgot that they checked her in or something. So they called her and she answered as she's in pre-op. And they're like, hey, are you showing up for your surgery? She's like, I'm here. What do you need? So it literally wasn't supposed to happen at all, but
Well, like we say, there's no such thing as coincidences or mistakes.
yeah.
That's just another proof of that. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. So then, we connected in the hospital, and again, she got sent home. She had to come back. She was put into the floor that I was on, which she wasn't really supposed to be put on that floor. They just kind of put her there. So it was
Mm,
all very working. It was working
yes.
together, and it was very interesting. And then we met and talked and hit it off from there, and we definitely both needed each other in that moment, by
Oh.
far.
Is
Uh,
she, I didn't realize she lives in Florida. She lives in Florida? Oh,
she
that's
lives in Bradenton.
wonderful.
Yeah,
Oh, no kidding. Another, yeah, that's good. So you're getting a little community together of like people, of young women and men who,
exactly.
yeah,
They're the same or similar
right. That's right.
situations.
And
It's
have
very
to
hard.
deal with these prosthetics,
Right.
that and
Yes.
all the issues that come with them. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. So she has an organization called Rebecca's Angels, and they raise money with the Boston Marathon every year.
Mhm.
And so she basically will help people who are in need, who need trauma therapy or like mental health. She's really a great advocate for mental health,
Oh, that's great.
stuff like that. So she put me into trauma therapy. And I had
Mhm.
done therapy when I was like 16, 17. I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to sit there and have somebody ask me how's my day going, because they should know how my day is going. And she was just like, no, this is different. This is a modality that'll really help you kind of process all of the traumas you've ever been through. So I was
Mm.
like, okay, we can try it. So it's called EMDR, and then I also do brain spotting as well. They're both absolutely incredible. And so basically you have to start from the very beginning, the earliest traumas you can remember, until the latest traumas, which had been my accident. So I had to start all the way in the beginning before I could even try thinking about getting to my accident and even process.
Mm.
So I processed all the way up, and then as of this year, I got to the car accident. So
Wow.
it took about 2.5 years to get to where I'm at.
But it's necessary that you go
Oh,
back that far,
absolutely.
and you have to be very thorough.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Okay,
Yeah.
good. And you felt the difference.
Oh my God, yeah. I can think about some of the worst things like the car accident. I can think of all of that stuff, and none of it really holds emotion, like sadness, I'll say. I mean, I feel bad for my younger self having to go through that.
Mm.
Um, but I don't hold any anger or like why me type of situations.
Mhm.
I don't hold that anymore.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. I don't think I'd be here without the trauma therapy. That's for sure.
Oh, really? Okay,
Mhm.
well, that's a huge message to get out to people,
Abs-
that whether or not they even think that you don't need to have some major event in your
Right.
life to do
Everybody
trauma
has
therapy.
traumas.
Everybody has it, right?
Mhm.
And that probably explains a lot about your um I don't know, I noticed right away you have this beautiful aura about you and this brightness about you before you even opened your mouth. Like you were just when I met you. And so I feel like that lightness that you carry, despite the reality of what your life is like day to day, probably is because of that therapy.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Um so you end up getting your legs,
Yeah.
and what did you end up doing? Tell the audience what you ended up doing after, all the parts came together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, before the accident, I had said I was going to school for medical aesthetics.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, I had a week break off. So I had graduated from the laser program, and then I was supposed to start the aesthetics program. Well,
Mhm.
during that week off is when I got into the accident. So I ended up having to take an entire year off. And then I went back to school that following November, I believe. And I finished out the medical aesthetics program,
Mm.
which I didn't really know how to feel proud of myself at the time, because I thought like, well, it's just something I had to do. But then, going through therapy and processing
Yeah.
everything, I was like, no, I didn't have to do that, but I did. And
Yeah.
I've finally been able to be like proud of myself for the things that I've done, and how hard I've worked to get to this point.
You
Uh,
have worked really hard. You have worked really hard. And you've said to me many times, and you and I are on the same path and belief with this, that, you go through hard things so you can help that next person get through what you've been through.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if I didn't have Rebecca, I also would be so lost because I had
Yeah.
nobody to relate to. I had nobody to ask questions to. Like, I had nothing.
You had nothing. I
Yeah.
know. And there are support groups for amputees, but like you and I had talked about, they're mostly older people who have lost a
Right.
limb from diabetes or whatever. There's
Veterans.
not a young group of people. So I'm
Right.
so glad you want to start a group, a support group for younger amputees. Yeah.
I'll be doing that very shortly. Just trying to
Yeah.
figure out all the logistics of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, love it. And you also are going to be your goal, one of your goals you had mentioned was to start your own, um, what is it, like a spa aesthetic?
Yeah, it would be like a medical aesthetic spa. I would love to be able to do like laser therapy on people for their scars because I've
Mhm,
gotten plenty done on this one here. It's like skin
mhm,
color for the most part. It's pretty thin.
mhm.
Before it was like the color of these, very thick, dark, and they're all over my body. They're not
Yeah,
just like on my arms and stuff. And I know how it feels to feel like not very confident having marks all over your body that weren't
mhm.
there in the beginning. Um, so to be able to kind of diminish those and get your confidence back, it's very nice to do that. And I would love to do that for other people.
For other people. I love that.
Mhm.
Um, let's talk a little bit about the book that your aunt wrote.
Yes. So the whole time that I was in the hospital, my aunt was with me. Thank God, because my mom was going to pass out from how much pain that I was in, that my aunt
Ugh,
had to
yeah,
step up and
yeah.
do a lot for me, and she was absolutely incredible. So yeah, so she took my iPad and she started like writing and drawing in it, and I was like, oh, she must be like pretty bored, drawing and writing random things. I had no idea what she was doing. And then my mom was like, will you put that iPad down? She's like, stop it, I'm writing a book. So I was like, oh, okay, she's writing a little book to me, like that's cute. Um, and then I got out of the hospital and I read it, and she had sent a copy to herself and she wanted to make it like an actual children's book. And it's basically just a story of a ladybug who lost its wing, and the supporters around her help her fly again. And I think
Mm.
it's the sweetest, cutest book ever.
Because your nickname was she called you Ladybug, right?
Yeah, yep, my
Yeah.
nickname as a kid was Ladybug, so that's why she
And
made it Ladybug.
what's the name of the book?
So it's called The Lucky Ladybug. You can get
Hmm.
it on Amazon. Not
And
sure
what's,
where else. I think it's like $26, $28 for a hardcover.
yeah. And your aunt's name is the author. What's her name?
Jenna Capucci.
Jenna Capucci. Yes, the Lucky Ladybug. And so another amazing thing came out of the tragic accident was a children's book.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, and I just, again, it's like, using bad situations to help others is just why we're here on this earth.
Yeah,
And I just love that. You also had mentioned that you might be partnering with your surgeon to open up the
yeah.
medical.
I'm
Yes.
hoping to do that. Right now, he's actually partnered with another doctor, and they've opened or in the process of opening a medical aesthetic facility. And he asked me to work for him. So that's super exciting. Such a like full circle moment from
Yes.
him helping me to now letting me help him and get
I
his,
love that.
yeah,
I
I'm
love that.
excited.
So let me ask you, for those people who are listening or watching that are just, they're living life on life's terms, and life is not easy for anybody. We
Right,
all have our thing.
absolutely.
Um, but perhaps somebody's feeling really overwhelmed by what's going on in their life today. What advice would you give to them? Like on your worst days, what did you do to say to yourself to keep going?
So I saw this video of Tom Hanks, basically talking about a quote that he loved. And when I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, this makes perfect sense. basically he said, time is your ally. So if you don't know, just wait it out, because you might
Okay.
feel like you're at the absolute lowest of your life and feel like nothing is going to change and you're going to be stuck there. But 2 weeks from now, you could be somewhere completely different.
So
And then you
true.
could also feel like you're on top of the world, like you know everything. And then 2 weeks from then, you're back to where you started. So
Right.
time changes absolutely everything. And I think if you just don't know, just wait.
Just wait.
Mhm.
And you know, that's so I one of my favorite saying is, my mom used to say this to me, and it used to make me crazy when I was growing up, but now I truly understand it. This too shall pass.
Yes. Yep.
But I have a hard time, and maybe this could be a whole other discussion that we have as a parent of somebody who has prosthetics, have lost a limb. I often am like, but this isn't passing. He's never going to get his leg back. He's
Right.
always going to have issues with his prosthetic. It's always going to be painful for
Right.
him, and so, as a young adult who obviously, you have a mom, like, what do you say, if does your mom ever get like that where
Oh,
you're,
absolutely. Yeah,
yeah.
she went through trauma therapy as well with me.
Mm,
We did have to have some like group therapy sessions as well to kind of process things together, which helped a lot. But even honestly, just kind of sitting and talking through everything together, like sitting there with your parent or with your child and kind of just saying what you feel and how you feel, you kind of get on the same page and you kind of
yeah.
get to the point where you understand each other and like understand when you need help or when you'd like to do it alone. Um, and just to kind of find a routine to make it so that you're not distracted, but figuring things out together.
Okay, that's really good. That's important. I like that a lot. Because as parents, we would take away all of your pain and switch
Oh yeah,
with you and
my mom told the surgeon, she was like, "Can you take my legs and put them on her?"
put them on her
Sorry, that's just not how it works. And she says all the time, I would trade any day. I would
any
get,
day. Same.
yeah.
I just had a vision of me and my little 5'3" legs on Hunter's six foot
Right.
foot three body.
One of my aunts even said the same thing. She was like, "I'll give a leg and then she can give a leg." But my mom's like 5'11", and then my other aunt's like 5'6", 5'5". So I was
That
like,
wouldn't work.
my new name would be Eileen.
Yeah. Oh my God, hilarious. I'm just gonna, well, let me actually, if you don't mind, I'm just gonna show a few pictures. Now, I need the audience just to bear with me because I'm so bad at all this stuff. I'm gonna share my screen, but you're gonna see like everything on my screen. So, until I can find the picture. Oh, this was one of my favorite pictures of you.
Yeah, that's me with my aunt's dog.
I
Um,
mean, I looked at this picture and I go, look at her. She's so young, has no idea what's coming down the path for her,
right.
you know?
I looked at a photo of me from when I was very little and actually brought some emotion up because I felt bad for her.
Yes, the same thing. You have pictures when you were like 6, 5, 6 years old, and I was like, "Oh, yeah." And
She was,
I did the same with Hunter, like looking at him with his leg. And here, clearly, you're athletic.
yep, I was a dancer.
Yep, I saw those pictures. You're like doing your thing, having fun, living the life of a teenager.
Yep,
And then this. And
right.
I chose this picture because of your arm. I wanted people to
Yes.
see,
Yeah, there's blood everywhere, seeping through everything. They actually had to cut my stomach open. So in that photo, you can't really tell, but a little bit. In my stomach area, they had a bag that they kind of put over it and taped over it because my intestines were not fitting in my body.
wow.
Yeah, which I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't know that that's
Wow.
how body worked. But yeah.
So
Yeah.
you walk in and here you are, and your mom, your family's looking at you, you're in a coma. So
Right.
you're
Yep.
on the other end talking to Jesus or your angels or whomever, your spirit guides,
Yep.
and you're making a plan
Mm-hmm.
here. That's how I look at it. Like you're making a plan. Okay, this is what's going to happen. This is what we're going to need to do. And then I'm going to take this picture and show everybody.
So
I
yeah,
just,
those are the test sockets, which are very heavy because
yeah,
they're plastic. And going into getting prosthetics, you think that you'll be able to like slap them right on and get to walking. But like
no,
that's just not realistic at all. And I really thought that that was going to be me. And I was like, no, I can do it. It's fine. I'll be able to do it. No, I could not.
no,
It's just not how it works because you're not walking normal anymore. It's not like you can take normal steps. You're having to walk a completely different way.
completely different way, especially with two. And so what happens for our audience, like with the residual limbs, because Hunter's, he was 17 when he lost his leg, you were 18, you're still growing.
Right.
Right? So your bones in here and your residual limb are still growing, and that grows into the skin at the bottom where you have your stitches,
Right.
and that's super painful. And
Yeah.
that's that. And so they have to go in, open you up, rub the bone down, take away the shards and all the sharp parts, sew you back up. You cannot wear a leg after that for another, what, 12 weeks,
Yep.
3 months. So you know, so it's not like you have another leg that you can walk around on, right?
Right. Yeah.
You are going to
That
be, yeah,
that was a hard part to really get around because everyone that I knew that had prosthetics, like everyone that I'd met that had prosthetics was only missing one. So
mm-hmm,
like, well, I don't have anybody who can relate to me having to crawl to certain places. Like when I go to Massachusetts, my wheelchair does not fit in some of the houses, like in some of the rooms, because it's old houses.
yeah,
So I have to get on the ground and crawl into the bathroom. And I never could really relate to anybody like that just because everyone could either hop or get on a knee and kind of like scoot themselves. But
yeah,
I
it's
do
a,
have, which is incredible to have one knee. Oh my gosh. I am saving it as long as I can. Hopefully I won't have to get it removed, but it may end up needing to be. Um, but yeah, to get up and down on things, to be able to like kneel and stretch if I wanted to and all that. I can't imagine being double above the knee.
I know, but we're not going to go there
Right.
because your surgeons are amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, and they're going to work that all out.
Right. Plus science is evolving, so things may be created that could stop certain things. You don't know.
Absolutely. They have like those click-on ones now that they go into your bone. Who knows? It's like if for those
Those,
who what?
those scare me.
I
For
know. They kind of scare me too, but how awesome would it be to click,
right,
and not have to go through
liners and
the
stuff.
liners and the suction and all that. And so people who are listening and watching this, they're looking at you and your beautiful face and not really realizing, like to anybody watching this, they're gonna be like, oh, she's in perfect shape. Like she looks great.
Right.
She's very healthy, blah, 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 blah. It's the day-to-day challenges that you have that your
Even just
attitude is just amazing.
thank you. Yeah, because even just like brushing your teeth, it's so different because now you're sitting when you're brushing your teeth. Like for the most part, I only put my prosthetics on when I'm going out of the house. I don't really have them on in my house just because I don't want to. They're not comfortable enough.
They're not
You
comfortable.
want to sit there in them.
Right.
Get very hot and sweaty, and as you know, the silicone liner holds in all that sweat and grossness. So even just sitting there trying to brush your teeth or wash your face and have the sink pretty far away from you, that's another whole challenge that you don't even like realize or think about because it's just a simple small task but it's daily.
That we all take for granted. People,
100%.
we all take the smallest things for granted.
Absolutely.
And
What I
it's,
would do to feel the pain in my feet again from being on them all day. Ugh.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Oh, you would do anything. And what about driving? Do you have a handheld?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I have hand controls, so I pull it back to go forward and I push it forward to stop.
Okay.
I find it very weird that it's not illegal to drive without or with your prosthetics. Like you can technically drive with a prosthetic leg, which
Yeah.
so strange, but I don't do that. I use hand controls only.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah.
Hunter's left leg is the one that he has prosthetic, so he's able to, drive with the pedal, but the added expense that incurs as well when you're in a situation, that's a special car. You're going to need special wheelchair. You have to, when you build your own house or move into your place, you're going to need this, the lower sink, the this, that. It's so, do you have assistance with that? Like, do you have any kind of funds that people can help you out with? I know that you had a GoFundMe page at one time.
Yeah. I did have a GoFundMe. I don't think I have anything open right now.
Okay. Well, if you do, you just let me know and we'll get the word out. Because I know how expensive it is. And Hunter needed a new leg and insurance denied him.
Mhm.
And that enraged me. I mean, he ended up getting it covered, whatever.
Right.
But I'm sorry, prosthetics of any kind should be absolutely free.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely free.
And
So
same with
there,
the water prosthetics, like the water legs that they have as
yes,
well. I think those should be free as well. Cause I asked my prosthetist, I was like, how much do these normally cost? He was like, probably around $5,000.
yeah,
$5,000 just for me to be able to like go in a pool or go to the beach. Like really?
yeah. It's not okay. So you and I have a lot of work to do. We're gonna between all of the contacts that we have, we really need to make a difference in the world of prosthetics. I am going to wrap this up, but I'm gonna just read something that you had put in your Facebook. As you know, I was Facebook stalking you for all the photos, and I'm reading all these things that you're writing, and I'm like, not only are you just so poetic and beautiful, like your spirit just it's just incredible. So I'm just gonna read this one little paragraph that you wrote. Over these past few months, September through December, I have really been finding myself and who I want to be. I'm figuring out who I want around in my life, the type of relationships I want with people. Did I just freeze up?
You did a little bit, but I could still hear you.
Okay, good. Wait a minute. Okay. I'm figuring out who I want around me in life, such an important thing. The type of relationships I want with people, learning how to put up boundaries after being such a people pleaser for years, learning my own strengths and weaknesses, figuring out what works for this lifestyle, etc. I now can finally understand my question of why me. In my opinion, this happened to me to get my head out of my ass, to show me what life is really about, to get the best version of myself as possible, and to be an example for other young boys and girls who have disabilities. I now can finally realize how strong I truly am, both physically and mentally, and I can recognize how proud I am of myself for all my accomplishments this past year. I'm proud of myself for all the pain I have to endure every day and for the continuously pushing through every single obstacle in my life every day. I am more confident and happier than I have ever truly been. Thank you for all having my back this year, especially the ones who had to deal with the attitude I be having. Here's to another year of growth. I just love that. I love that so much. It really, again, it just is remarkable to me that just a few years ago, you had such a life-changing experience. And here you are, just such a shining example of survival. And it's just, it's just remarkable. I feel like I won the lottery by meeting you, because you are the exact kind of person that I want to have in my life and to surround myself with, so that I can grow in every single way. And when I'm having a crap day, like, I'm going to think of you and be like, what am I complaining about? What am I complaining about? So anyways, is there anything left that you would like to share with our audience before we say goodbye?
I don't think so.
Okay.
If they want to get that ladybug book.
Yes, the Ladybug book.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
Maybe check out Rebecca, her Rebecca's Angels.
Yes, Rebecca's Angels, that's a great cause. And we'll probably have you on again, just to hear your progress and all that good stuff. And also something else that came out of this was your little puppy dog, Stella.
Yes, the cutest girl.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so animals always bring comfort and
Absolutely.
just amazingness to our lives. So I'm going to end this by saying, you stay online with me though, okay, Lexi? I just want to say to all of our listeners that if you're having a bad day, if you're struggling with anything, reach out to somebody, ask them for help, tell them. If you're anything like me, I tend to go through things and then can talk about it after I've already, I've processed it, and now I'm on the other end, so I'm going to tell everybody about it. But that's not healthy. When you're in a situation where you're really having a hard day, and it doesn't matter if it's because your fingernail broke or you get whatever. People get down for all sorts of different reasons, but reach out to another human being. It always makes you feel better.
Absolutely.
And I just want to say thank you to all our listeners. Thank you to Lexi for being our guest, and to everybody, namaste. Have a lovely week, and we will see you soon.